I wanted to look at blade grabbing, mainly within HEMA, but a little bit outside of that as well, and just look at some considerations. The first thing is, it turns up in a lot of HEMA manuals, and by blade grabbing I mean simply grabbing hold of the fucking blade of the knife, the sword, the messer, the longsword, the whatever the fuck they're pretty well holding towards you. Okay? Now that is the distinction I would make. I think that blade grabbing fundamentally is for a point where the blade is either immobile or is in thrust. So if you were to set something aside and you have the option to grab it, it's there, providing you have another weapon, you can do something about it, and that fraction of a second is useful to you. You may lose the use of your hand afterwards, forever you may lose your fingers, but for that moment, you've set aside the blade long enough, controlled the blade of the opponent, long enough that you can injure them quite severely, hopefully finish the fight. So that's a simple context that you can look at it in. You do not want to receive a blade like this. This is Dusk. It's probably the sharpest thing I own. It's made by Owen Bush. It's pattern welded. It's beautiful. I will do a review on this at some point. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You do not wish to be on the receiving end of a cut of this. You do not wish to put your hand out like so to stop it, which is something you see an awful lot in sparring, and it's one of the reasons that you are taught to tuck your arm behind your back. Now, that said, if someone was to thrust with that, and again I set it aside, I would be tempted, and in a moment of panic or desperation and a I will fuck you over moment, I would grab hold of that, happily. Not thinking that I am going to get out of it unscathed, but thinking that gives me the moment to do something about the other chap. Okay? Now, particularly in something like that, or longer, a rapier, something like a longsword, the reach is also quite important. I can't reach his hand in order to immobilise the hand. I have to get past that. So if the blade is offered to me, a grip on it is actually quite a good advantage to get me past that. And then he can't swing it. He may be able to slice the fuck out of my hand, but then I can finish him off. So very, very simple context. Now, again, something like this, wonderful knife by Nick Rossi. Again, very, very sharp. Same thing. I would not like to be cut by it. If it was thrust and I had the opportunity to set it aside with my hand and grab it for a moment if need be, I would like to have the hand, but if the blade is what I'd got, if that is enough to keep me alive, then that is what I would do. And again, we're talking from a historic perspective here. A knife like this, for example, is a little bit harder. To grab the blade isn't really going to give us very much leverage. It's not going to really affect our reach. So we're going to try for the hand, we're going to try for the arm, whatever we can, okay? So this is really the main considerations, I think, go into blade grabbing. So what you're looking at in all of these situations is really a risk versus risk moment. It's, is my grabbing of the blade going to lessen the risk to my life? Is it going to give me a moment to finish the fight that I would not have otherwise? You see this in the dagger work as well, where if the blade is of a reasonable length here, and I'm not going to get involved with all this toss pottery about, oh, well, these knives are sharp and these ones aren't, so you can do this. No, it's a fucking knife, it's got some length to it. If you can grab hold of this and manipulate his hand at the same time, possibly take this out of his grip, you're going to do so in that moment of desperation. It's not the only technique you can use or you'll try and use, but if it's the one that fucking saves your life, it's the one you're going to try and use at that time. So if you take this risk versus risk mentality that if I can grab it and control it, will that keep me alive? That is the choice. Now, to put this in the context of some of the manuals, I'm again going to go from 133 and T-bow. So in 133, you have a situation whereby someone holding the sword out like so, here, has the blade grabbed here, okay, quite simply. And what you see in 133 is if somebody does so, you smash them in the hands in order to get their hand off the blade in order to free it. Now, if you put this in the context of T-bow, who goes, if someone goes to grab your blade, they then control your life. Don't, for fuck's sake, let them do this. Again, you have this clarification that someone grabbing your blade is a really, really bad deal for you as a swordsman or a knife fighter or whatever, okay? So it does exist. It has its moments when it is prudent to expect yourself to come out unscathed. I know there's a lot of people saying you can be dragged across stages by people holding onto you and holding onto your sword. This isn't the context I'm interested in. You will get sliced and diced because no fucker just holds it. They will smash your hand. They will do all of these things in order to withdraw the blade. It's the moment it gives you to save your life that is the important thing. And this is what the manual is offering. The manuals are offering to us. I hope this is useful to you. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.